Um,
Give me
we're
one
gonna
second.
pledge. We're gonna pledge allegiance to the flag. We stand.
Yes.
Pledge allegiance
To the
To the
flag
flag
of
of the United States of America
and
to the republic for which it stands,
one nation under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty
liberty
and
and justice for all.
Okay, so we have a lot of people here tonight. We have Fred Ginter. We have AJ. No. Antoinette.
Yes.
Robert Collegio, present.
Yes, sir.
Van D'Amato.
Yeah.
Jerry Ruggiero.
Present.
And Roy Garlisi, correct? Anybody else? Debbie and Robin for sure.
I'm showing
So we're
12. I'm
attending.
showing 12 attendees.
Well, we could have some guests, right? I know
Yes.
of one speaker, so we have a couple of people maybe signed in for that.
Okay.
See if I can see that participants. Yeah, I see 12.
Yeah.
Somebody's fake name. I'm not sure who that is.
Yeah.
Okay, whoever that. I don't know who that is. I'm not going to say. And Daphne Yun. Oh, from Gateway. Okay, Christine from Parks. Christine Tumbarella from Parks.
Yep.
Okay, so then we'll ask Daphne Yun from Gateway to update us on what's going on down the park.
Hello, everyone. We've got a lot of things happening at Gateway. First of all, our hours did change last year throughout the park, so I just want to make sure that everyone knows that. It's from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. I believe that at one point it was 5 a.m. and till dark, but now 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. throughout all of Staten Island. Wait 1 second. My cat is very excited that I'm at home, and so she's sitting on my notes. Fishing and boat ramp passes are on sale right now through April 30th. They're on sale online only through recreation.gov, and it's a two-part process. First, you buy it online, and then secondly, you pick it up at Miller Field Thursday, Friday, Saturday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. through the first weekend of May. And all of this information is on our website, which is www.nps.gov/gate.
Daphne, can I ask you something?
Yes.
Who can be there at night? Just the people with the passes, the beach passes?
Yeah, so after 9 p.m., if you have the parking permit on your car, then you're allowed to be anywhere in the park. And Crooks Point, you have to have your permit 24, like all the time, even during the daylight at
Right.
Crooks Point. That's the only place in Staten Island that requires a fishing permit at all times. Cleanups for the trash. So our maintenance staff has started some of the big cleanup on the beach. We've already had one volunteer cleanup 2 weekends ago. We have 3 volunteer cleanups this upcoming week. Since it's spring break, a lot of people are volunteering, asking to come out. We'll concentrate on the beach, on the swimming beach, but also at Crooks Point. And then in mid-May is when our seasonals really start coming on board. And so at that point, we'll have much more regular pickup. And speaking of seasonals, we actually have open positions for maintenance, for lifeguards. Both of those are in Staten Island, as well as our other 2 units. They are open through June 30th for lifeguards. For maintenance, I think it's actually until August. Again, that information's on our website. And then we have biotech positions that are open for both Sandy Hook and Jamaica Bay. And in the past, we only had positions open for really short periods of time. This year, we have them open for much longer. People have questions. If you know someone who wants a job, please contact me, and I'll help them fill out a federal resume, which is different than everything else. I'll try to help them get through all the hoops we have. Highland Boulevard, the grass is going to be mown there in mid to late April, and then they're going to start mowing it about once a month. And then some other big things, the bulkhead is in design with Army Corps, so that is finally going to be fixed. I don't have a timeline yet, but that's pretty exciting news.
Is that where the handicap section was, where that collapsed in and you can't park there anymore? So
Yes.
what is the end? Because I know that's one of the things we asked you about. What is the current situation?
So we are in design with Army Corps. So for that project, we had to compete throughout with other national parks for money because if it's above a certain amount, it can't come out of our budget. So we competed, we finally were able to get money. And so now it's in design with Army Corps. At this point, I don't have any type of timeline, but once I do, I can just contact you guys directly and let you know.
Okay, it's in progress, better than it was before.
Yes, that is better than what it was before.
My son mentioned to me, my father-in-law, when he used to fish out of Crooks Point, but then became disabled, and that was the only place he could park and fish. And he passed away about 10 years ago. And my son was saying that's been a long time since Grandpa, and he couldn't fish here anymore. It was the only spot he could go anymore. And he had a whole group of friends, and they go down there. But it's a long time, and everybody gets very frustrated with this. The timelines.
Yes, I understand. The other new thing that's happened since the last meeting, even so we came out in December and talked to everyone about the cleanup on what we call operable unit 2, which is sort of the bigger section. That report should come out soon. Once that comes out, we'll schedule a meeting to come out and talk to you about it. But operable unit 1, which is the area where the seawall is going to be, and there'd been some issues about that. So there's been an agreement between the city, the Park Service, and that agreement says it's an agreement in principle. I have to read this because it's lawyers wrote it. The NPS commitment to perform remediation at that area. So we've committed to that. And New York City has committed to negotiate settlements for operable unit 2, the other part, and some other sites. And then in addition to that, there's an agreement with Army Corps for planning and design. So there are now all these little pieces that have finally come together so that work can start as well.
So the only thing is funding again, or is it timeline is not happening until it gets to clean up to get before anything could be built, correct? It's just
so that, I guess the piece was that the way that the city and the Army Corps had agreed, like there was some sort of missing piece, and but with this new agreement, the Park Service has provided that missing piece. Funding for this is something that, again, we compete for, but Kathleen and I, when we came in the past, always talked about the fact that we're in the news a lot. I mean, we've been able to get the funding that we need for all of these projects.
And are you
even though we compete again nationally?
Are you working with our Congresswoman Maliotokis at all?
We've had meetings with her, yes.
Yeah. Funding?
Well, this is different because it's a different pot of funding, and so it's through the contaminated sites for the Park Service. I have not heard of any type of snag, though.
Okay, now, and has any remediation been done yet?
Not at this point.
Oh, I thought that was like.
I mean, so the agreement just got signed into December, so I don't know when they'll be out in the field. But once I do, again, I'll come back or just send everyone an email to send you an update.
And that'll be the first really area that's going to be remediated then, right?
Yes.
Okay. Good luck.
And that is it for my updates. And does anyone have any questions?
Well, I asked questions. Does anybody else would have a question for?
I have a question when I can go.
Sure. And is this a board member or who is that speaking now?
This is Robert.
Okay.
Hi, Daphne. Park is in good shape. Can you tell us about the daily cleaning and litter cleaning and cleaning up from day to day? Because I'm there every single morning before I go to work. So if you can just update us on that, thank you.
So I believe that at this point, they're doing it about twice a week, and they're going to up that once we get more staff on board. So that'll be mid-May. So that's more the path itself. And then the beach, again, is being cleaned up. The maintenance staff took some of the big trash that was there. We had a volunteer cleanup, and then we're going to have more volunteer cleanups. And then once we get more seasonal staff, that'll be done on an as-needed basis.
Thank you. Is there any plan to clean up and fix that fence along the cliff where the middle parking lot is?
I don't know. And I knew there'd be a question that I didn't know the answer to. So if you want to email me with sort of the specifics, and then I could find out for you.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate that.
You're
Thank you, Steve. I'm good.
Something else, Daphne, the Bulkhead Road, what's the situation with that? Is that I see it open sometimes, I see it closed. I see a lot of people walking back there, fishing back there.
So it's open to pedestrian use.
Right. And as we spoke the last time, it's not contaminated there, right? And your trucks are going through there. And the fire department goes through there. And so once again, I asked the rationale on that not being open, as far as being people able to drive. It's almost a half-mile walk from the parking area in there with your fishing gear. And especially if you go all the way around the back, you know. Oh, and the other thing I asked, before I forget, did you ever look into those 3 houses that are being built right on your border, right by where the marinas begin in the back of the harbor? Giant monstrosities of houses that literally feet from the water's edge, exactly where a swan nest, right where the creek that encircles up to Highland Boulevard is. Have you looked into that at all? So 2 things there.
As far as I know, that is not on our property.
Right. Did it impact your property at all? That's what I was asking.
I believe that there is possibly debris. And then once the construction is finished, we're planning a cleanup of the area.
Okay.
Is the main impact that we see right now.
Okay.
And then I don't know the answer for the driving on the bulkhead. I can ask the radiation team again, since that's not my specialty. Talking is more my specialty. But I can ask the team and see what they say.
Yeah, the police drive back there. The fire department goes with their brush fire unit, and you guys patrol it on that road. And it's either all or nobody, I would assume. You know what I mean? Where it's good for or not good for. It's not limited contact. So,
right, but we feel like staff, firefighters, obviously, we're willing to take a level of risk with them that we don't necessarily want the general public to have.
Risk as far as health risk, you can.
Yes.
Well,
if there is a health risk.
From what we do understand, it's not contaminated there. That's why the road is open and people can walk there. So I'm just trying to see if we can get access back there again. I can't walk there.
I'll find out.
Okay. Oh, and as far as cleanup on the beach, the full moon is coming. So as the tide brings everything up, it's almost a self-cleaning of the beach. If you wait until the moon is waxing, or waning, then as the tide goes out, it spreads it on the beach. Every day you have a 20-foot barrier on the beach instead of a 5-foot barrier, let's say. So if you get a high tide, if you got cleanups, you should really plan them on the way to the high tide. It's like 3/4 of a moon now. So over the next 4 days, there'll be a full moon. So these are the perfect week to get the beach cleaned up. I don't know if you're into the tides or not,
I do know that it's a full moon on Sunday. And somewhat, but I think it's when people are available and when people volunteer. And we're never going to turn away a group that wants to help us clean up.
Right.
Yeah.
Do we have anybody else on the board that wants to speak?
Steve?
Yeah, Debbie, I'd like to ask you a question in regards to the remediation project. Do you have a budget for that?
I don't know what the budget is. Okay. I can try to find out though. And again, so this is something that Gateway works through the Park Services contamination team to do all of these things, but I can find out.
Okay, appreciate it. And that area that Steve was talking about, that where the people are walking back and forth, that long stretch of property, is it safe for them to be walking there?
We've opened it to pedestrian access, yes.
So it's safe for them to walk?
Yes.
Okay.
Antoinette?
Yes, Steve, may I ask Robert? I know he's walking like 3 o'clock in the morning or something like ungodly hour. Unbelievable. Every day, every single day. But I went once, I attempted once, the deer went flying in front of me. So I went home. I can't.
Anthony, you're
Somebody's
Who's in
got
the,
something.
oh, I mean, it was very scary. It was a big deer that flew
Oh.
across right in front of me, you know? So I was wondering, Robert, what's the situation down there?
Oh, there's plenty of deer every morning there. They're everywhere in the park. There's deer, there's geese now, there's ducks, there's everything in the park now in the morning, all day,
Yeah, but
actually.
are they on the path where you walk?
Yeah, they jump over the fence, they cross the street, and they go to the other side.
That's not good.
Well, nobody
What?
bothers them. They don't bother anybody. There's like a whole family. I think they're all related.
No,
You know?
Robert, they weren't bothering, but I'm telling you, when he jumped in front of me, it was very frightening.
Oh,
You know,
well.
I mean,
They tell
dangerous.
you when you go in that there's deer crossing to be careful driving, and that's what speed bumps and the speed control. Everybody just drive slow, pay attention.
I wasn't driving, Robert. I was walking.
Mhm.
I'm
Oh.
asking, like, what are we doing about that?
I don't think there's much we can do about the deer. They come out in the morning early, they eat.
Well,
You
you
know,
tell me
and,
that I had to ask what committee to see what the situation is with the deer and
well,
the coyote.
this is federal
So
property.
are you talking, yeah, so we don't manage animals on
Right,
our land.
exactly.
I'm sorry, which committee, Robert?
Well, it would be the
ask.
park. We talked to the parks about it many times, and they've done the vasectomy program as a reduction problem. And honestly, I think it's working. I think there are less deer, and I found quite a few dead deer. I don't know if it's due to the vasectomies, but in the High Rock area, I found a lot of dead deer, and I think the deer population. We'll know in the next couple of months if we see a lot of babies, but I think the deer population is waning. And Daphne, did they come in into the park and give vasectomies too? Because I've seen deers tagged in there.
Yeah,
did
they are tagged. They have the tent set up. I've seen them do that.
Oh, you've seen them work down there too.
Yeah. And now is the time they do the little ones. You got the little babies running around with the mama. You know, they're sitting there, they're
Yeah, we've seen
eating.
that.
You know.
So
Yeah, it's cute. It's cute.
well, if nobody else from the board has any other question, we could open up to the public. As far as I know, it's Chris Altieri here. Chris? Well, he's not here, but he did have a statement. Actually, I'll be able to pull it up on my email. It's basically he's in a state, as most of us are, about the baseball fields are gone, the track is gone. There seems to be no plan to ever bring them back. He's concerned that the park wants nothing but trees and unmanaged animals, the way he put it, and that the bulkhead is collapsing and the parking area is not good and the beach is dirty. A lot of his concerns that we have are the same concerns that he has. And he just wants some, I think we've addressed it with you, Daphne, a number of times, especially if you're dealing well with the garbage. And, you know, I always called it the dirtiest beach in the world. And I've been going there since I'm a baby, since I was 1 year old. I'm 70 years old now. I have a boat in the harbor. I've been fishing there, crabbing there. I ran my first mile in the park. And we all wonder, when is the park going to be improved? We have a couple of walking paths, and that's about it. You know, you could walk down there, and you know, you can't. People ride their bikes on the same 4-foot path that the pedestrians are walking on. I don't understand how some improvements, other than just one walking trail, are not being done. You know, and that the beach has.
That guy, but the veterans.
I don't know if you could hear me anymore. I said I'm muted, but I don't think I am. So that was the gist of his. Exactly, it's the same feelings I have, that we have this beautiful piece of property that's not maintained properly, and that's dirty, and not a lot of amenities. There's no place to wash your hands at Crook Point. Everybody's fishing out there. There's a filthy outhouse out there. It's and you know, some people won't go there anymore because it breaks their heart, you know, and it breaks mine, but I still go. It breaks my heart
And
to
as
see.
far as the organized sports, that is mainly at Miller Field now. And the general management plan, which came out in 2014, sort of stated that organized sports are going to be focused at Miller Field. And Great Kills will be more recreational activities such as marine activities, the walking, etc.
That's it.
You know,
The walking.
walking
But
and running.
what happened? What happened to the track where I ran my first mile? And why can't we have recreation? South Shore has a major shortage of baseball fields, tracks, and that's a huge expanse of property that's not being used. And I understand the radiation, but it just seems to be, as this guy said it. He said the same thing. I know there's radiation, but why is that planned, and who made that decision? And that was never brought to the community. I know you say that this is what you've decided for recreational, but there's plenty of room in Great Hills Park for everything, especially the beautiful baseball fields they had. And
So
football.
the general management plan, I started in the park in 2013, and the general management plan was already underway at that point, and there were many public discussions about it. And I don't know, again, it had already started when I came, so I'm not sure when and how many in Staten Island versus Jamaica Bay versus New Jersey, but there were open opportunities for people to comment on this. It was a public process because legally that's how the Park Service has to do it. And so and again, that is on the website as well. The Gateway Final General Management Plan is under our planning process. And so one of the things is that most organized sports are going to be at Miller Field, and Great Kills is just a different focus. But then with the radiation, they just finished all the collection of data. So the next step is to create a report. And then there's still the idea of a feasibility project, which again will have public comments. So that, I mean, there's a long timeline. As far as I read his comment beforehand, it has been a really long time. And now the park has other contaminated sites. And again, it had already started when I came to work for the park, but it seems from my perspective that the park thought it was one small piece. And then they kept finding more and more and more without really understanding the magnitude of how much radiation there was. And that really started with one piece, and it turns out that that whole area that's closed off, other than that Bulkhead Road, is filled with contaminant. So it took a lot of time because every time they went out, more was found, versus in the beginning, if they had,
We understand that. That's been very difficult in getting the funding and even the plan for it, very difficult. But I got to tell you that the decision as making this a passive place and Middle Field being used, I've been on the board for 15 years. I know if it had been brought up before, and I'm still asking the questions about it. So I don't think it would have passed my mind that I heard that it's been definite, that this has been a decision. It seems like a unilateral decision, and I'd like to see that revisited. I don't think that it was ever brought up before the public. And if you have one comment from anybody, I would love to see that, because it never came from us on the community board. And
so I just shared the site where it is on, and then so nps.gov/gate, learn management GMP 2012. And so there were a lot of comments. At this point, they're not going to open this again, but this is not the only sort of thing that we use as an idea. So we'll just go forward from there. I mean, and people comment. You're welcome to comment and let us know what you want.
I know when they closed,
Well,
people were totally upset about it because they put so much time and effort. And like I said, I played Babe Ruth baseball. I ran my first mile when I was trying to get on the fire department around the cinder track. I played Pop Warner football there, and I've ate fish and crabs, and I've swum in the harbor, and I've spent my whole life down there. And not to have these amenities like that used to be, because this is just philagmites back there and what I call garbage trees. It's not a verdant forest that it was like in Oregon or something. This is just a dump that grew wild stuff and whatever grew, you know. And, you know, and now eagles nest there and ospreys are all around and rabbits are running, but there's no human access. And I'd like to make sure that like the hundreds of acres that are back there are going to be just nothing other than trees and weeds, as we say on Staten Island, the woods, you know. But there won't be access, and there won't be being used other than by the squirrels and the muskrats, you know. So I would love to see that revisited. And I don't mean to be an angry citizen here, but a lot of people feel the same exact way as I do. And I know
I don't take it personally.
Same thing, you know. But I appreciate you putting up with me.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you giving us the update. And what you can do, you can do. I understand that. So was there anybody else from the public that would like to speak, Deb? Do you know?
Not that I know of, but I'd like to ask Playboy to identify, give us his or her name. So I guess it's a he. So for the record, for the minutes.
That's 13 now. And somebody on an iPhone without video.
Okay.
I don't know who that is.
Okay.
Maybe they couldn't sign in. Okay.
All right.
That I
Thank
will-
you.
All
Thank
right,
you,
that-
Steve. Thank you,
Okay,
Steve. Thank you, everybody.
All right. And anybody have anything else, whole business, or anything new they want to discuss? We'll bring it up the next meeting.
No, thanks.
If not, then I'll say good night to all of you and thank you for attending the
Good
meeting.
night.
Thank
Good
you
night.
very much. Good night now. Thank you.
Thank you. Good
Good
night.
night.
Thank you very much. Bye.
All
Have a
right.
good night, everyone.
You too.
Okay, where are we?